New from Vinegar Syndrome in 4K is Deranged from 1974, another take on the Ed Gein tale. Now, this is someone who's been covered many times in various formats. Deranged itself is one of those titles that if I had discovered a long while ago, I would probably have more of a passion for, more love for. It's an interesting take as it comes across as a kind of faux documentary crime tale. At parts we have a narrator, a presenter who comes on screen and talks about things. Sometimes we just hear his voiceover, sometimes he's there in person, sometimes he will walk into a scene midway through and start to narrate some other things that has been happening or as it is happening throughout the film. And I really kind of like that interesting take on this one.
Nothing has been left to the imagination. It is not a story for the squeamish or the faint-hearted.
We meet Ezra Cobb at the start, a man who is succumbed to the will of his mother. He kind of dotes on her. He has been indoctrinated into her way of thinking, of which she's pushing down all kinds of women. And she gives him some rather dubious advice at the start of this one that's going to kind of linger in his mind and send him down a kind of different path than maybe his mother intended.
The wages of sin is gonorrhea, syphilis, and death. They'll use their bodies to steal from you.
Now, as you watch Ezra kind of slowly come to terms with the fact that he is a crazed, psychopathic murderer, we kind of see him pick various people of which he's going to try and get into a situation where he can kill them or dismember them or do all kinds of horrible things to them. And I really love the performance of Robert Blossom. I think he is terrific as Ezra Cobb. He has this kind of unnatural eeriness to him. He looks as if he is just a little bit shifty. His performance when he's not saying much or just hanging around, or that vacant stare off to the distance, is something that is deeply unsettling.
I'm taking you home, Mama. Home.
There is a low budget quality to Deranged which really kind of attracted me to the film. You know, it feels capable in the way that they're making this thing, but it just feels a little bit low budget and ramshackled, and I kind of like that aesthetic where not a great deal is put on production design. There is enough put there. A lot of the scenes are in these kind of buildings and rooms. It doesn't really travel outside of that too far, other than maybe highways or just certain aspects to give it a little bit of value. But for me, everything comes down to the performance of the main character. I think Ezra Cobb is flawed character in this film or in this world, but ultimately compelling, particularly the murder set pieces. But it's the interesting aspect of the kind of faux documentary style or crime story, crime documentary, with the narrator and the person that's always talking to the viewer, breaking the fourth wall and having these conversations that I found to be really fascinating. You know, take films that were made at the same time. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was made roughly at the same time, plays the story more straighter, has more of an atmospheric fear built into it, whereas Deranged almost has a comedic aside to a lot of the aspects. It feels very much like a kind of tongue-in-cheek element to this one.
Look, Mama, I brought you a visitor.
The way it doesn't really preach to you, it just kind of shows this character, the failings that society has had upon him and his avenue that he's ultimately going to take was interesting enough. I thought the disc looked terrific. Unfortunately, because it was a low-budget production, you can kind of see some of the seams and certain aspects, but to me, that adds to the film more often than it detracts. The Deranged disc itself is a great disc. There's so many extras that just make this the kind of thing that I would keep in the collection just simply because of the presentation, but the extras are just wonderful and a great range of names. I think we should jump in and have a little look at the extras. Here we are in the disc for Deranged. Let's go to the audio setup. Here we have 3 commentary tracks. We have one with the writer and co-director Alan Ormsby, with Tom Savini, and with film historian Richard Harland Smith. If we go to the extras, we have Very Unnatural Deaths interview with Tom Savini, talking about this being his second film, how he was kind of green and eager to get into the business, and again, as usual with him, it's very engaging. Next we have is a fun time interview with actor Brian Smeagol, who plays Brad in the film in a small role, talking about again how it was a small production, how he got the job, his remembrances of being on the set. We have Disturbed, Demented and Deranged, an interview with Stephen Thrower, which is 24 minutes 3 seconds, all about Ed Gein. We have an archival making of, which is 13 minutes. We have an interview with the producer Tom Carr, which runs at 17 minutes 21 seconds, talking about how he was in the concert business and decided that this was the way to get out of that and into his passion, which is film. And then we have an introduction to the film by Tom Savini, which is 15 seconds. There's also trailers, TV spots, and an image gallery. Also included in this set is a booklet with some great articles and some behind-the-scenes pictures and information about the film. That's the extras for Deranged. So there we have it. Deranged, Confessions of a Necrophile is out now. It's something that I would say, yeah, check out if you're a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of early 70s exploitation films. Something you're going to have a lot of fun with. And there's an interesting enough spin on that to make it stand out from some of the other films in that kind of ilk. I would love to know your thoughts on Deranged, so let me know in the comment box below whether you love it, hate it, found it kind of average, whatever. I want to know your opinion. As always, there is more content up here. You can see more of my stuff. In the description box below are links to Patreon, membership program, manvfilm.com. Always in which you can support. Thanks for watching. See you next time.